Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast, a weekly live show where we explore the power of culture and leadership in business. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers, and we go live every week to learn from each other and hear from other experts about how to effectively champion our team members and ourselves. So join us live every Wednesday on our social networks or subscribe. You can listen to Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Now, let's champion your culture.
Hey, and here we are. That's as easy as it starts, doesn't it?
Easy like a Monday afternoon.
Oh, easy like a Monday afternoon.
It's not the same thing. We like to sing. We like to sing and have a good time. And we want to welcome everybody again to Champion Your Culture, the podcast powered by Culture Good. But we have a special guest in here that has heard our tunes right off the bat. And now, Miss Katara, welcome. Queen Katara, the Katara McCarty, 75K McCarty. We got all the names, but listen, we have a voice of an angel. It just died.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the podcast, Katara.
Wow. Thank you for having me. That was what an intro. I didn't know singing happened.
Oh,
singing happened.
We do a lot of singing on this
Maybe
show.
I'm just going to throw out just some advice.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't sing. I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I'm just
Well, we
I'm just kidding.
definitely want more viewers and more audience, so we'll take that into consideration because we're not really sure how things.
I think we should let the audience know that first of all, we're married.
Yeah, let's talk
partners.
about who Katara is. So Katara and I are a thing for 27 years. We just celebrated 27
We're a
years.
thing.
I think
We have a marriage license.
We've been a thing for 27 years. Just celebrated our 27-year anniversary, and we're really
Crazy.
excited to have you on today because you just won the NBA pitch competition.
But listen,
Yo.
that's awesome. But what I wanted to say,
Yeah, what did you want to say?
is that we have been we've been a thing for 27 years, and then we've known George. You've known George for a long time. I've known George for a while.
Yep, it'd be 20 years, I think is what we
discussed
the last time I saw. We were in Marion, dropping off some keys. And we discussed it.
And I've known George for 30 years.
Yeah. So I just wanted the audience to know that because we talk trash to each other.
Oh, please. Yeah.
So, if you hear me
talk.
talking trash, it's because,
Big sister.
there's history here.
Yeah.
There's, I didn't just walk in and meet George today for the podcast. So
there's a
over
reason.
here.
You have a reason why you give a shit. We know.
I give you a lot of shit,
It's kinda
especially
like
Ryan.
Being in a relationship after 7 years is like the common law marriage type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like this is common law family right here.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm in the middle. We were discussing how we're going to sit, but 27th years of a thing. I don't know what would happen if I said, hey, in October, I'll be my thing for 19. That I probably get
19 years.
19 years.
Oh, that we've been a thing.
Get me and Eber have been a
Well, I
thing.
mean, that is
It'd be 20 years technically. We dated for a year.
Yeah.
And I put a ring on it real quick.
Did you?
You're smart.
4 months in, and I say, hey, if you leave, I got some IMPD boys.
They'll come pick you up.
Maybe. No. That may be a true story. I mean, she cooked, cleaned, made 3 meals like our first weekend together.
You are not stupid.
You ain't going nowhere.
I called her up the day before and asked what she was doing on a Saturday. She's like, I'm doing laundry. I was like, I'm gonna bring mine. She thought I was joking. I showed up with 2 big old bags. And she did my laundry.
And you're like,
I didn't move out.
I'm going to marry you.
Ever since she did your laundry, you wasn't moving out.
Leaving clothes at the house.
That's hilarious.
Just in case I'm over there, I might need a change or something. Never
Oh
did.
my
Eventually,
God.
she was like, okay, you have enough clothes over here that you're going to have to live here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not living with the in-laws.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. But yeah, common law family here.
I'm
law
off family, so there might be some shit. Do y'all cuss on the episode?
Yeah. Shit.
Okay, just checking. I didn't get the
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah. I mean,
Trash
we're
talk.
on LinkedIn Live and it's business, but everybody I know in business cusses constantly. I'm not
Oh,
sure
yeah.
why we don't do so. on shows.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Shout out to Chad and Cheese, their podcast.
Chad and Cheese.
Yeah, Chad and Cheese.
They do a lot with culture,
culture and leadership.
they're
They in
good.
the HR space as well.
and they're good at cussing.
Yeah.
hey, I grew up in a house of women
kind of a
with
thing.
potty mouth.
Yeah,
potty
we
mouths.
just get to talk however we want. It's our
Okay,
show.
great. Well,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, so you want to jump into it?
Let's jump into it.
So this last weekend in Indianapolis, we were able to experience all the festivities of the NBA All-Star Weekend. It was really a week, and for you, it was a few months. Because let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So they were coming in, and as part of the festivities, the foundation, the NBA Foundation, which has an amazing mission to continue to give funding and support Black and brown founders, specifically in tech spaces and the advancement of that. And so as they were coming into town, you heard about it from someone. This was months ago, though. So talk a little bit about how you found out about the NBA Foundation and the work that they were doing as the NBA All-Star Weekend was coming into Indianapolis. What was that like?
So, we're here in Indianapolis, and we've known that the All-Star game, and we've all known, the city's known that the
Big
All-Star
deal.
game was coming to downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So there's been a buzz for probably a year, right? And committees forming and people talking about, how they're preparing for to host the All-Star game. And so we were excited just because we live downtown, right? We're like, ooh, we about to be a part of all the things. So it was exciting just hearing about it. And then later in the year last year, I was approached by Be Nimble Foundation. Shout out to Kelly Jones and Jeff.
We love Kelly. We love Jeff. We love all the people.
Love Be Nimble. Love Be Nimble. Shout out to Be Nimble. But they reached out to their network of diverse founders and encouraged us to apply those that fit within the requirements that the NBA Foundation had put out there, encouraged us to apply. So I applied and I was selected. I guess I would have been late December to be, I was one of the semifinalists.
Yeah.
And then we had to pitch, I guess that would have been 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In front of, actually it was at Gamebridge. The semifinals was at Gamebridge. It was so cool. It was so cool.
So neat.
Huge stage. We were able to pitch there, and then I advanced to the finals, which happened during All-Star Weekend on Saturday. But leading up to the finals, the NBA Foundation is all about really empowering Black and brown founders, giving back to the Black community, specifically Black youth, Black entrepreneurs, really about economic empowerment of the Black community. And so they launched the NBA Foundation several years ago. And with every All-Star game, they host a pitch competition.
Yeah.
And so I got to be a part of the finals, and leading up to it, they gave us coaching and helped us to perfect our pitch and our pitch deck. And you and I were working on the pitch deck. He was helping me design it.
Anybody need a great pitch deck? I know how to do that.
You know how to
really
do it
well
now.
That's going to be a side gig for me for sure.
Well, you're really good at it.
I know how to make a pitch deck.
My
I don't
pitch
know how
deck
to
is
pitch
fire.
well. You pitched really well, let me tell you. But there was 153 applicants.
There were 153 applicants. They honed it down to 7, and then during the finals on Saturday, they picked the top 3, and guess who got number 1?
Who?
Your girl.
Hey!
She did.
We give a lot of claps in our podcast, but this is a really big one. So talk about, like, what is that? You got first place.
I got first place.
Out of 153 people that tried out for this.
Yes, I got first place. We pitched in front of a panel of judges. Tamika Catchings was one of the judges. 50 Cent. Do y'all know who 50 Cent is? Y'all know who 50 Cent?
Oh, yeah. Take me to the candy shop. Let me lick the lollipop. Oh, no, I'll let you lick the. Oh, that's what. We shouldn't go all the way into the song. Okay. No. Shout out to 50. It's 50. It's 50.
Many.
Oh, that's a better one.
Okay. Yeah, he picked the wrong.
I go straight for the candy shop. My bad.
He was one of the judges. Jalen Rose was one of the judges. A couple other judges. So yeah, we got up. It was a little, nerve wracking because you're just not really sure how judges are going to receive your not just your idea. I mean, mine's not just an idea. It's a full-blown app now. It's business. And that's the part I was most nervous about, not pitching my company, because I'm really proud of the traction we've gotten, how far we are. I'm really proud of the investment we've made, how beautiful it is. I'm confident in our mission and vision to prioritize Black women's overall well-being.
Yeah.
It's the judges. You never know what they're going to say. You never know what they're going to ask. And that is like nerve-wracking. And a couple of contestants and I were talking about how nervous that is, how nervous we were about that. And the judges loved it. Yeah. They loved it. They had really good things to say. And I walked away with first prize, which was awesome.
That's awesome. For those people who are watching with us live that may not know, we had you on the podcast a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And so everybody knows you're award winner, you're pitch queen, and you won first place. Talk a little bit about what your app is, what you pitched. For those who don't know, Ms. Katara, they're Googling right now, trying to search the #1 winner of the NBA Foundation Award, all those good things. Can you talk a little bit about and share to the audience today, especially for our Black and brown women out there that are watching? What is it that you're proud of the most? What does the app produce? Mm-hmm. We talked about who it's for, but can you talk a little bit about the Exhale app and also the pitch?
Sure. So Exhale is a well-being app designed to support Black women and women of color in their mental health journey. So we launched the app. I launched the app back in 2020 in response to what was happening in the Black community. COVID was impacting the Black community disproportionately. The news was saying it's because we have pre-existing conditions. And I'm like looking at the news, like that's not the full narrative. Like you're leaving a whole story out. That, we have pre-existing conditions because of health disparities, because of racism, because of systemic oppression. And so I was frustrated about that, worried. I have an elderly mother. She does have pre-existing conditions. I was, concerned for my community, as you were. We were just concerned. Yeah. And then, the killing of Ahmaud, Breonna, George really was like, what the is going on. Yeah. And it wasn't like, the oppression that exists in our community and the Black community was just being exasperated at that time. It's not like we don't know that these things happen. But it was concerning and it was frustrating and it was scary. And I was reaching for kind of those mainstream mental wellness apps to manage my own stress and anxiety. And when I would go to them during that time, they were not offering up any culturally relevant, culturally sensitive content to the Black community. And I was really frustrated. I was angry. Yeah. I wasn't surprised, but I definitely was like, how could you not be addressing this right now? Yeah. We're all under stress, but specifically the Black community. And so I decided to create the very thing I was looking for. And I remember running upstairs to tell Ryan, it was probably late April, early March. I ran up.
Right in the middle of the pandemic. And
the beginning of the pandemic.
Beginning, you're right.
And I was like, I have an idea. And you were like, okay. And so I told him, he's like, that is a great idea. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this in the middle of at the beginning of a global pandemic.
It immediately made sense to me. Yeah. Because my whole thought too, like yours, is like, why start something that already exists in a sense? But if you see a gap and you experience it yourself, that's a great indicator. If you have the gumption to do so and the ability to do something about the very thing that you're looking for, I think that's a powerful idea.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just was, I never thought that I would have an app. Yeah. It was not on my vision board to start a tech company.
Wasn't the dream.
No, it wasn't a part of the plan in my own mind, right? But out of my rage, out of my frustration, out of seeing a gap in the market and what I believe Black women and women of color deserve. Yeah. I was like, we should do this. Like, I should put something out there. I'm a certified coach. So I, have studied emotional well-being, mindfulness practices that I would give my clients. So I was like, what if I just put that in an app? And what if I made it specifically for Black women where they can go to have an app that's curated and created specifically with them in mind. So it's not just, it's my voice and we have Black women models in the app. We're speaking about microaggressions.
Yeah.
We're speaking about anti-Blackness. We're speaking about the way in which Black women are usually often left out of conversations around equity and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And so we launched it back in August of 2020. We were able to get some funding over the last several years and build a more custom version of the app and launch that back in July, August of last year. And it's a beautiful app now. It's in the App Store. It's in Google Play. You can download it. It has a paywall, so it's $4.99 a month or $49.99 for the year. And you can just get on and meditate with me. $50 for the year.
I mean, literally to meet with you as a coach.
Yeah.
That would cost more than $50 for a session.
For sure.
That's why it made sense to me, because it's like giving full access to all these resources at the click of a button. And you always have your phone with you for the most part. Unless you're like me where I lose stuff.
75 or 85 cents a week is pretty much what it's coming out.
Look at you doing the math.
I don't know if that's right. But I thought $1, let's go down in 5 cents.
Yeah, pretty close to $1 a week.
Yeah.
And I think that just, to me, that the pricing of it is what differentiates it.
Yeah, we're $20 less on the year. Our yearly subscription is $20 less than our competitors.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to reduce barriers by lowering costs.
Right.
Right. Because sometimes cost can be a barrier.
Yeah.
And so we really thought about like, how can we reduce those barriers? How can we create content that Black women can come to? We have 5, 10, 15-minute options for all of our content because we asked Black women and they don't have a lot of time. They're like, I will spend 5, 10, or 15 minutes in a mindfulness app. Yeah. So that's what we did. We created an app that has micro self-care options.
So talk about that micro self-care.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea.
Yeah, micro self-care. We really think about the ways in which we experience microaggressions. Mm-hmm. So they're just these they're not little, they're big, but they're just these moments that happen where somebody says something that's it's racism,
right?
But it's like a little comment.
Microaggression.
It's like somebody coming up and trying to touch my hair.
Yeah,
they don't think it's a big
aggressive,
deal.
But it's small enough where most of society just has dealt with it.
Well, and they don't think it's non-people of color don't think it's a big deal.
Right?
Like, what's the big deal that I like?
Your hair is spongy and.
Yeah, your hair's curly today, but it was straight yesterday, and I just want to touch your hair with it. Like, that's a microaggression, right?
Yeah.
And so we experience those every day. We're kind of out moving in the world, and so we wanted to approach our content through like, okay, if I'm experiencing a microaggression at work, somebody said something off-putting, racist to me. I can get my phone out, put my little AirPods in, go to the bathroom, go to my office, and 5 minutes I can decrease my stress. Because what happens during those moments is our stress level gets activated, our nervous system gets activated, and it goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode. So if you've ever, for example, if you're, I like to use, like, if you've ever gotten in a close fender bender where you almost got in a wreck, and your face gets hot and your hands, and you kind of feel your nerves. And
it happened, but it didn't happen.
Exactly. And you feel shaky. And afterwards your internal parts feel shaky. Yeah. Like, that's because your nervous system, your fight, flight, or freeze mode got activated. Mm-hmm. That happens to Black people all the time.
Yeah.
And so instead of just oh, I just got to brush it off. It's like, no, let's move our nervous system over into a state of calm. And we can do that through breath work techniques. We can do that through meditations. We can do that through listening to calming sounds. We can do that through shake it off methods where you just shake your body. Like there's so many ways to do that. And we wanted to give women, Black women, micro options, right? So I can do this for 5 minutes. I don't have to spend 45 minutes in a meditation or in a yoga class. While that's awesome, and if you have access and time and resources to do that, beautiful. But if you don't, exhale can just be like in your little mental health toolbox that you can reach for in real time, and for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, decrease your stress and shift your nervous system. So, we just doing a little something over here.
That's good, because a lot of people don't have that time at work. Maybe they only have that 10-minute break, before and after lunch or whatnot. And so those are important, moments to be able to have that short breath, breathing, moment, or just close your eyes, meditating. I recall, and one of my favorite things that I've seen, because she's famous here in Indianapolis, at least to me, is that I saw you on the news station doing the shake.
You saw
shake
that?
it off technique.
I know her. And here I am, I'm finding myself shaking. Right. And I'm like, what is this doing? So it's really cool that happens. I want to touch on this microaggression, because for me, I remember the first time ignorance was removed, right? I'm used to people, touching my hair. At one point for like 8 years of my life, I had an afro, and I was just used to, white people touching my hair. Didn't think anything of it until an older Black lady said, why do you allow that? Can you touch to those people, especially even younger people, or even people my age? I was 29, 30 years old when I learned what microaggression was, and to really be educated on it. I was educated on it just 6 years ago. Right. So it was fresh to me, and understanding like what was allowed and what I did not know. For those people who are hearing microaggression and using this hair, as an example, how do you approach the ignorance of a George that doesn't have a clue that microaggression is happening? How do you expose that? Because they're going to get into the app and they're going to see some of these small tools. What's the education piece that you can give to the Black and brown women that may come across your app and say, man, I never heard of this. Now, how do I change this culture or this atmosphere that I've already allowed, not necessarily created for myself, but somewhat allowed during ignorance? Because there's a lot of things that I had to stop.
Or stop other people from doing, set boundaries.
Cut off, because they're so used to it. I'm like, hey, as I've learned about myself, there's a lot of things I had to cut off. Right. And by cutting off people, you cut people off too, which I'm blessed to say that I'm glad that I got dead weight. Talk about a monkey off your back, so to speak. How do you go about approaching a George that says, I never knew, or Georgina that comes across your app and says, I never knew about this?
Well, I think that, the Black community has just experienced systemic racism, 400 years, right? Like it's, slavery and, chattel slavery, and just what our ancestors had to go through. And then, Jim Crow laws, like all of the things that we can trace all the way back to when we first got here. Right. And, we've a lot of times just show up in the world and just take it. Right. It's like
just kind of experience it as it comes.
It's like you getting people touching your hair. There may have been a moment where you did feel uncomfortable, or where you were like, that was kind of weird or whatever, but you just learn how to like just brush it off, and you just keep it moving. And it's like my grandmother would say, like, mind your business, keep your head down, don't lose your job. Like, you just figure it out. I know my mom, she was in nursing, and she would get called the N-word by patients. They didn't want her in the room, and she would have to go and tell her, direct report, and they would have to, shift her patient, like, okay, now don't go in that room anymore. But she still experienced racism. And so I think that we have to just acknowledge how we feel about the situation and say, actually, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't okay what that person said or what that person did. And I think now we have more language to describe how we feel, to be able to say what that actually was or what actually happened. But when you're, in predominantly white spaces, it's hard to even acknowledge, like, was that just me, or was I racist, or you know what I mean? It's sometimes difficult to be, and society has, put that on us to like ignore it, or to to be like, oh, that actually didn't happen like you think it happened, or they really didn't mean it, or you do that they meant well, they're not bad people.
Professional cover up.
Yeah. And so then you do that internal dialogue to talk yourself out of what just really happened that was harmful.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that there is an uncovering. I think that there is an awareness that has been happening, for a long, long time, to help equip us to have the language to say what that was that just happened.
Yeah.
And so, you can't always, it's not always even safe to say what happened, right? It's not all of us work in safe cultures.
That's true.
Work cultures that would, that you could go to your direct report or whoever's over you or a colleague and say, hey, so-and-so just did this and that was a microaggression, or so-and-so just said this and that was racist, and they understand and embrace and support you. Like, it's not always safe for us to even call it out, but I think it is empowering for us to understand, like, that's actually not okay. And not that that's one part, and that it's causing hurt and harm to us and to our mental health, to keep enduring, to keep, those things keep happening to us.
Yeah.
It impacts our mental health and our emotional well-being negatively.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a work culture where I can go talk to somebody, I can download Excel app and shift my nervous system, because it's impacting us in real time. Negatively.
Didn't like the CDC and American Medical Association, when was that?
So in 2020, the CDC and the American Medical Association declared racism as a public health threat for the first time.
For the first time.
So this was in 2020. So this was a significant acknowledgement from the medical community around how racism negatively impacts our mental, emotional, and physical health.
It's abusive.
It is. And so that's true, right?
Yeah.
I can't necessarily change the people I'm interacting with, right? I hope that they would read some books. I hope that they would educate themselves.
Google something.
I hope that they would understand. Don't be going around touching my hair, right? If they don't educate themselves, right? I can't be responsible for that. I think a lot of specifically Black women have, maybe not necessarily taken on the role, but been asked by non-people of color, white folks, educate me. That's not our job.
That happens.
It is your job. It's your job to educate yourself. Our job, y'all, let me tell you, Black women that are listening, our job is to prioritize our overall well-being. So if I need to step out for a second after a meeting and do a deep inhale and exhale, shake that off of me, like whatever I need to do to take care of myself, I have to take care of myself, because unfortunately, I don't think racism, systemic oppression will be dismantled in my lifetime. And that, even saying that, makes me really, really sad.
Yeah, sure.
But what we can do is manage the impact and the effects that it has on us. So that's my work, is to say, this thing is out here and it's harming us.
Right.
Can we dismantle it? It's actually not our jobs to dismantle it.
Yeah.
Right. It's people like Ryan.
People that
with power, people that benefit, people that have the power and the privilege should be the ones doing that work. Our job is to then take care of ourselves in the midst of these systems harming us. How do we prioritize our mental and emotional well-being? And that's the work. And that's my call out.
Yeah.
Prioritize yourself, take care of yourself. Because y'all, these streets is wild. They out here wilding in these streets.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about like the workplace, for instance, I
Yeah.
love that you brought up the idea of safe places and also brave, right? So, because I never heard of a brave space before. And there's no way to have a brave space where people can show up and be in a place of bravery if they don't feel safe. So you think about, how do we create a brave space? We start by creating a space that's safe for people to show up in bravery, to show up in the fullness of, and to be able to your point, not every culture allows for that, for that conversation that George might have, or you might have with someone, to say, you know what, it's not okay for you to touch my hair. And I can wear my hair however I want to wear it. And you don't need to comment every single day when I change my hairstyle, but to your point, in some work cultures, it's not inclusive. It doesn't have the same type of environment where anybody can show up and feel that not only do they connect there, but they belong there. Like it's their place, not just it's someone else's place that they're just a part of. And so talk a little bit about like, what is that like? Because I know there's a survey that we're going to get into here in just a moment, but a lot of it has to do with the cultures and work culture and what Black women are experiencing at work, and why does the app matter during those moments like George is talking about, the 10-minute lunch break where I gotta eat some food or whatever, and then I'm gonna jump onto the app for 5 minutes before I get back into the boardroom or get back into work. What does that look like in terms of the culture right now within the workplace? Like, I know we were talking earlier, a lot of that, the studies that you've done. I know you have a study, and again, we'll get into more of the data part of it, but overall, what is it going to take in terms of workplaces being able to kind of shift in a direction where they know how to create a safer place?
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of a hard time with safe places, because anytime you get humans in a room,
it ain't safe.
It's just not going to be totally safe, right?
Safe-ish.
You know what I mean?
There's no perfect-ish.
Yeah.
Right. So safe is like, is it safe? And big question mark, is it safe for Black women?
Yeah.
Right. And when I use the word Black women, I'm using that as an inclusive term to include our trans sisters.
Sure.
Gay, lesbian, right? Like, so just FYI, just a little
diversity.
Little side note there. So safe, I think it's hard when we try to approach work culture from a place of like, let's make this safe for everybody.
Right.
Because anytime you get folks in a room together, it's just, somebody just, it's just not. I mean, relationships aren't safe, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, you're going to get your feelings hurt. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be clashes of personalities. There's going to be somebody that ain't read a book, and so they're saying some racist shit, right? Like, it's just, so I do like the word brave. And when I think about creating brave spaces, I think it's up to really the leadership, like all the way up the top to president, CEO, C-suite, to ensure that they are creating cultures that are brave, which means if I experience someone saying something racist or whatever, right, that's harmful to me,
right,
then the space is brave enough that I can go to my leadership, I can go to my employee resource group, right, I can go to HR, and I don't have to just fill out paperwork, but they actually see me, they actually hear me, they're actually going to do something about it. And so when I think about a brave space, it's thinking about like, the ways in which you're creating a culture that people can speak up and not just speak up and file a report,
right?
But be heard and that something is being done about it, that there's a follow through.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. And that doesn't start with, management level.
No, it doesn't.
It has to, and we talk about this all the time with culture.
We do too.
Like it has to come from upstairs or wherever they are.
They're always upstairs.
I feel like they're always upstairs.
You know why? It's
What's up with that?
Well, because we used to call God the man upstairs. So authority always takes on a higher position.
Yeah. Well, I hate that.
Isn't that interesting?
They should be in the basement.
They're closer to God than we are.
Nah, that's
you know the old factories where they'd have the supervisor sitting and watching over all the workers and that whole.
I also think leadership. It's important to be in a relationship with folks that don't look like you.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That aren't from backgrounds that you're from.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when's the last time you sat across lunch from somebody that is from a totally different culture than you?
Yeah.
Like somebody was on your podcast recently. He said, what did he say? He said, traveling the world.
Yeah. Just is like reading a book and you just have less, you see the world and you get rid of bigotry.
It was so good. And it's so true when you get outside of your small little circles and where you're comfortable and the people that when you get outside of those circles and build relationship with people other than yourself that looks like you.
That's it.
I think it's part of it. I think it's part of it. But you got to read some books. Y'all need to learn your history, true history too.
For sure. Yeah. And I think too, like being able to curate that type of experience where you look around and it doesn't look like sameness.
Right.
I think that's one of the pitfalls of culture work is we try to build sameness.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the same kind of personality, or they kind of like the kind of work that that the leaders do. And if the leader works till 8 o'clock every night, then we're going to hire people that have that same kind of fire, beneath them to work really hard. And, and you start to look around and you realize there's no diversity here at all.
Mm-hmm.
We have like surface level diversity. So we'll have like one woman on an entire team of leaders, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Or she's usually white,
or one black man in you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've experienced that, George, yourself within like George and I'll go speak at a conference. And it's 100% of white people,
mm-hmm.
and just experiencing that and having that reality consistently all the time. I think it's this conversation is just, it needs to be had more and more because there's the pushback right now for the DEI stuff. And like, that's becoming a whole deal.
I mean, there's no pushback. It's more of a let down.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's like when is
a rollback?
Yeah, it's a rollback.
It's a rollback.
Like
we changed our minds.
It's not a pushback. It's a rollback.
It's not a pushback. It's a rollback. It's all right. There's the spotlight has dimmed on, the tragedies that we've faced. The pandemic's somewhat gone, right?
Yeah.
They're not seeing the knee on George Floyd's neck anymore.
They're not seeing that pain, and so I think that's the difference in separation. Of what it feels like to be black versus and seeing that, because for me as a black man, it's like, when am I next?
Absolutely.
Right? That's the mentality.
Absolutely.
When we talk about mental health.
Yeah.
Just today, I had a cop come out of nowhere, following on a highway, nice red Tesla, my white Tesla, both got tinted windows. Theirs were actually darker.
Yeah.
The cop moved from away from them to behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Now the cop doesn't know which one's black or white, but in my mind, because the person rolled down a window and asked me what year my car we were talking, I knew it was a white man.
Yeah.
Right. And so the fear internally is that cop just got behind.
Yeah. You're activated.
Yeah, it's activated.
Your nervous system was activated.
And so those are things that you necessarily may not ever feel. Like
he doesn't.
I don't. For you may say, "Damn, I'm about to lose $175." For me, I'm saying, "Damn, I might
could lose my life." I hope I get home to my son.
I hope I get home to my family. That's my thought.
Right.
And it goes back again, reversing more intentionality to that conversation. When everything originally started, and I say originally started, I'm talking about the pandemic, George Floyd, all those things. One of the questions that white family and friends was saying, "What can we do?" my question was, when was the last time you sat across the lunch table with a person that did not look like you? Like legitimate, right? Sitting in this Zoom call with 15 plus white people.
Yeah.
When was the last time you invited a George, not me?
Yeah.
Because I'm a benefit because of business.
Right.
But when did you invite somebody a client, a customer that's come through your business? When have you sat next to somebody who could not do nothing for you?
Yeah.
And 0 people were able to raise their hands. So when we talk about DEI, we talk about this racism, and we talk about how can we be better as a person, as a white person.
Yeah.
Right. The question is, when's the last time you were intentional?
Yeah.
Right. And not even from a C-suite level, it should start there.
Yeah.
But even for just people in general, for our audience, when was the last time you didn't sit at your table with your friends or your clique that is not necessarily a clique, but it just so happens that we always sit next to each other.
Sure.
And we're work buddies and work girlfriends, whatever it may be. When was the last time you were intentional on that?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think those things as a loop connect.
Relationship.
It goes into the relationship. It goes to the culture that's created.
Yeah.
When we talk about culture, it's the behavior that we see that everybody in the business world wants to fix.
Right.
But the culture is how you just made me feel by not including me with
that's culture.
And also including me. But when I'm not in the room, are you advocating for me?
Yeah.
Are you defending me? Are you my ally? Are you showing up in allyship? And I think non-people of color can take that challenge that you just gave. The challenge that I just gave. Like, let's diversify who I'm interacting with. And am I educated enough? Have I read enough? Have I studied enough about systemic oppression and racism to open my mouth to my white colleagues, my white family, when they say something off-putting, when they say something racist, when my Black colleague's not there and they say something awful, that I am equipped enough and brave enough to speak up and say, that's actually inappropriate, that's unacceptable. And show up in allyship. I think we have to take, when we think about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Yeah, sure.
We have to think about, how am I showing up as a non-person of color in allyship for the Black and brown community? I can have, I know people that have Black and brown friends. Like, well, my best friend's Black. I'm not racist.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Glad that your BFF's Black. Are you showing up as an ally, not just for your BFF?
Yeah.
Right. But for the people in your workplace, like, how are you doing that? And that takes a lot of unlearning and relearning. It takes a lot of educating yourself to be able to show up in allyship and as an accomplice for the Black community.
And bravery. Because I think we're trying, a lot of people, including myself, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people save their own ass.
Yeah.
If it's not a brave space and they see other people being injured in that culture, I don't want to be injured. So it's like this.
But I think that's the thing. You have to be willing to take an injury.
Yes.
For the greater of dismantling the system. Because when you think about dismantling racism, I think about it like tearing down a building.
Like when we did the tear down stuff for
I think
like a huge build, like a big bulldozer comes in and there's smoke and dust and bricks are everywhere. This is not going to be a cute little clean little, let's dismantle. No, this is going to be,
Yeah.
It's going to get messy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be clean and pretty.
I always describe it as uprooting a tree that's been planted for 30 plus years. Talk about what it does to the foundation, especially when you get to the roots of it. Just chopping a tree down and clearing the stump is not what we're talking about. We're talking about uprooting from the ground that may cause concrete damage. Right? It may go into the streets, whatever it may be, but we're talking about total foundational destruction, not just taking the house down. We're talking about getting underneath the ground and seeing what's there.
Yeah, because there's roots.
It's roots.
And who's really signing up for that? We are.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we need these roots. We're going to need these roots. We got our work boots on, But
training as you're tearing down those things for your people, for our people.
Yeah.
And also still getting rocks and hate thrown at you at the same time.
Yeah, so
it
true.
gets discouraging. And I want to say this for those people who are watching or listening to us live, if you're uncomfortable with this conversation right now, I want you to know, number one, I love you. But this message may also be for you. In all honesty, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
But sometimes conversations on racism, mental health, and those things for Black people make other people uncomfortable. And I want to let you know it's okay to be uncomfortable if you're willing to have that conversation to fix that uncomfortableness.
There you go.
To understand our pain, right? Don't be uncomfortable and try to run from it. Be uncomfortable and run to it. Not to get answers from us, but to get answers for yourself. So for those people who are watching or listening, you're hearing this conversation, you say, man, I feel uncomfortable with this conversation. I want to say you're in the right place.
Oh, yeah.
Right time.
Yeah, this is a
if
good
you're
one.
uncomfortable, then there's something in your spirit, in your heart, and your mind that needs to be exposed.
That's good. It's good. That's how growth happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So
change can be uncomfortable.
Can we jump into a little bit of the data
Yes.
and talk about the survey a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little segment called What Does the Data Say? So we got a little intro on this one. We got into some very deep conversation. All right. And we're going to get into some more deep conversations. So we're going to look into what does the data actually say about what we've been talking about? All right. So this is a segment called What Does the Data Say?
What does the data say? What does the data say? What does the data say?
Data. Yeah. At the end of it says data.
Oh.
Yeah. So
You remember the song, What Does the Fox Say? Yeah, that was George and
guys.
Ryan's.
Look at you.
we mixed
guys.
it up a little bit. You know, we try to be cool. I think that relates to a lot of 10-year-olds out there. You know, like, now they're probably 20. Although, what does a fox say? Kids are probably 20 years
I have a
old.
question. Is it data or data?
Ooh,
That's a question for
that
George.
is- it depends on where you're from.
Totally.
Oh, okay, here
It's
we
like
go.
one of those
It's
things.
Like pop and soda.
What do you say?
Data.
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 Yeah.
But sometimes
do
I'll say data.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say data too. Honestly, I'll use both. But I think
funny. I'll be in
Influenced.
I'll
We're
be
influenced by
What
what
does
we're
it-
around.
yeah. Sometimes I'll just be in a room and be like data, and then I'm
for this
other rooms
yeah.
data.
for the song, data sounded better.
Okay, just questioning. Just a question.
That is interesting. Everybody watching right now, if you're live right now, throw in the chat. If it's data, put a Y. Day, D-A-Y. If it's data for you. If it's data, spell it correctly. Which one do you do? Data, number one. Data, number two.
Yeah,
Data,
I'm
number
curious.
How are we going to know the difference if they type
They're
it?
gonna
Put a
spell
one.
it.
Put a one for data.
Oh, one for data.
Two for data.
Okay. And then, we're going to look and see who's,
I'm interested too. I want to know. Make sure you tell me
Okay. Yeah. We'll let
The
you know.
results of-
We need to know what
the results of that survey.
we want to know the right way, the professional way.
Let me know the data that you get back.
We'll let you know the data.
Perfect. Let's dive into what was the research on?
Yeah.
Talk about the
Share
survey. What was
the survey?
The survey was this is the first.
It was a first of its kind survey, which I didn't know. So we started off attempting to do embark on market research, right?
Yeah.
Like we wanted to gather market research to develop the app, to know like what should we put in, what should we not, how much should we charge, all of those things. So it started off as market research, but as we dove into it, we realized that we wanted to know more and that we could use this data to really have conversations like we were having before your little song.
Right. What does the data say? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to call it a break, but we didn't necessarily have a break. But anyway, and so we wanted to collect that data to be able to have meaningful conversations with other Black women, and also non-people of color to say, hey, this is what Black women are saying. They're part of your company. Your companies, they're part of your organizations. They live in your communities. This is what they're saying. And how can you take this information and do something with it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's twofold. It's to build, actually threefold. It was to build the app, a better version of the app. It was to be able to have conversations with Black women to say, hey, we got to take care of ourselves, y'all, because these streets is rough, right?
Right.
And then also to call non-people of color in to say, okay, how can you support the Black women in your life?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And when was this? This was
So,
done last year?
Yeah, we did it last summer. Spring, summer, we launched the results in the summer. We surveyed in partnership with an analytics firm. We surveyed 1,005 Black women around their mental, emotional, and physical health. And key findings indicated that racial trauma, discrimination, and stereotypes were key contributors to Black women's stress. And we have some other data that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
See, I changed it.
So when you're talking about it, it's data, but when you get into it, it's data.
Mixing it up over here. Yeah.
Diversity, right?
Yeah, there we go.
In our language.
Yeah. So from what I understand within the study, there's segments, right? So like talk about the segments, because you looked at a Black woman's experience, not only at home dealing with stress and everything else in the home life, but also work life, which is a big component, obviously, of what we do all the time, and looking at that. What other segments of Black women's health was looked at? Yeah,
we looked at, we asked questions around mental health, also physical health, like, health disparities, around, trusting your physician, if they're not Black, do you trust them less or more? So really dove into really a well-rounded, like, we wanted to know more than just, how's your mental health, but we also wanted to get curious around their interaction.
What's impacting that?
Yeah. And also workplace, we wanted to know more about how Black women were, what they were experiencing at work when considering their intersectionality, being Black and being a woman, and how was that impacting their mental health? Was it impacting their mental health? I was assuming it was because of my experiences and my colleagues and my sister and my family members, but I wanted to know. So we had one of our industry contributors, Stella. She's a physician, a Harvard Medical School graduate, and she does beautiful work in New York around HIV and health equity. And so she was a industry contributor. And so we pulled some questions together in partnership with her, and surveyed over 1,000 Black women, and we have some really cool data that I think I'd love to talk about with you guys around the workplace.
Let's dive into it.
Okay, so Black women, again, we didn't survey 5.
Right.
This is a pretty significant survey, and like you said, Ryan, nationwide, first of its kind, which I was surprised by. I was like, I'm doing it. Nobody's asked Black women this.
Right.
First Excel app.
Yeah.
First
survey, first of its kind. And so we asked about workplace environment, issues in the workplace, and some of the data says that Black women don't feel supported in the workplace. 53% said they don't believe their current work environment provides supportive resources for them, for Black women. 53%. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's over half. Yeah. That means for every 2 Black women that walk into work, one of them.
They don't have supportive resources specifically for them.
Right.
So when we're thinking about, again, this is about education and learning. I don't weave through life the same way that my white counterparts do, white female counterparts do.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
So we can think that that's true, that we experience misogyny, the patriarchy. Yes. And Black women experience racism, anti-Blackness, right? Yep. So that's an added layer of stress, an added layer of anxiety that we have to experience, and have to weave through life with that reality, right? So if that's the case, then how is my workplace considering that? Considering my intersectionality and providing resources to support. Well, one way they can do that is call me and I can get Excel app into your corporation.
Well, there you go.
For Black women, right? That's a simple way to say, hey, we're going to pay for a yearly
So a company, for instance, could have 25 Black women on staff,
Mhm.
and they can buy a bulk subscription to Excel app and say, hey, we just wanted to,
Here's a resource.
this is a resource. This is a gift,
Mhm.
that we heard about and we thought you could benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a supportive resource, a supportive way to show up for Black
Mhm.
women in your organization.
So I know we're
Right.
not in the
No,
end part.
that was
here,
a commercial.
But with that
Full
commercial,
break.
if somebody's listening and they don't hear the rest of the podcast, how does a business owner or HR lead, how do they reach out to actually buy like it in bulk, or do they just like give everybody a gift card, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me. We'll put my email in
Okay.
the notes, the
Yeah.
show notes. Katara at excel-app.com. My team and I will get with you. We can jump on a quick call.
That's awesome.
Talk about what you need, and then we give you a code for however many you buy. We give you a code, and then you can give that code to
I love it.
the employees within your organization. They download it. They get free access to the entire app. And they can use it. Yeah.
I think that's
really
just like
easy
a
way.
great gift. Like,
Yeah.
just to be able to say, hey, I just heard about this on this podcast and just thought I'll gift this to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It can be
Why not?
it can be a way for employers to show up for
I love it.
For the Black women in their
Let's
organization
do
in
this
a real
right now.
meaningful way.
If you tag somebody, for those who are watching live right now, we'll pay for one. I'll pay for one right now.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go sales.
Tag a Black or brown woman that may be
Yeah.
at your workplace. If you know somebody that could use this app and be blessed by it, we want to give one. We'll announce. I'll DM that person myself,
awesome.
and we'll give one out that they can experience. I believe in it. I actually have it. I know I'm not a female.
Yeah, you can
But
use
there's some
it.
good breathing treatments on there.
Yeah.
That I just love it. There's some sounds.
Yeah.
Dr. Stephen Shepard, our guest that we just had back a week ago, was
Shared
on there
those sounds.
sharing some of those sounds. Something that he does, and so I love it for myself. So I want to gift one to one of our audience today.
I love that.
Thanks,
I love
Jerry.
that.
Yeah. Back to the data. Let's
Okay,
talk
another
further
one
on
of
this.
the
This is
other
interesting.
another data point. We're talking about workplace. 50% of Black women indicate that there's no company culture of inclusivity for Black women in the workplace. There's none. 50% say that.
Is this a conversation around, so do you think that the DEI efforts have made a difference? You know what I'm saying? If they're saying that, I'm like, maybe
Well, I mean, you have
the
to
DEI
listen.
stuff
You
is
have
very
to listen
lacking.
to. You have to. That's why
because it's all surface level.
That's why
A
we
lot of
did this survey.
Yeah.
Because we can. Again, when you think about a lot of industries, who's at the top,
right. Yeah.
It's usually not a diverse leadership team.
The higher
Specifically
you go up
racially
those stairs,
diverse.
the less diverse things look. Let's
in
be
most
honest.
industries, right? So if that's the case, they're making decisions, or maybe have a DEI lead that they brought in that's a Black or brown person,
Right.
and they're trying to come up with like, what can DEI look like, or this company did it this way, so we'll adopt that. And what I'm saying is, how about we ask?
Right. Yeah.
How about we just ask?
Let's have this conversation. Yeah.
Black women.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Right? What
Yeah.
what does that look like for them?
Yeah.
What do they want? What would they hope their company culture would be like?
Yeah.
How about we ask?
Yeah.
I mean, real simple,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
So
it
you're
to me is
saying no culture of inclusivity at all.
50%.
50%. Right there.
And 50% say today's work environments do not provide safe spaces for Black women to share their feelings and discuss their stressors. 50%.
Literally,
It's kind of like an eye opener
we
here.
talk about this every
Yeah.
week, but hearing that in
Mhm.
terms of the Black experience, Black woman's experience
Yeah.
specifically, it just reiterates and confirms in terms of what Georgia and I's conversation is every week. Because sometimes I'm like, we keep saying this over and over and
Yeah.
over. Oh yeah, we're beating the drum until we have to change the drum heads,
Yeah, sure.
And
Keep beating it.
it's like we have to get to a place where we're listening to this.
Yeah.
Where we're really
I mean,
it.
that's why we did the survey. Again,
Yeah.
if you're an executive, if you're a part of a leadership team, you can go to our website and download the survey. You can comb through it with your leadership team. You could have discussions.
Yeah, I love that.
Pull people in, pull Black women in. They're a part of your organization and company, and maybe have discussions. You can bring me in. I can have discussions with you, with your team, right? Like, I think it's really important. This data is really important for us to be able to shift and move the needle.
Yeah.
So that Black women that are a part of our companies and organizations and our workforce feel heard, feel seen, are included, feel like they have a voice, feel like there is safe spaces, brave spaces for them to be a part of. And, you know, we got to listen.
Yeah.
We got to listen and then take action.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And you can't take a Black woman's passion for attitude. I want to say that as well, because that space of, I don't feel comfortable. The reason why I feel like there's a lot of spaces out there that don't provide that is because the assumption that somebody's passion for something and their passion for that is that they won't be moved. They're going to stand their ground on that statement or that situation is dictated that she has a bad attitude. She's not a company woman. Or she always has these emotions. And the fact is that there's a passion behind that.
That's powerful.
That you don't see from her perspective. And this is coming from my mama and them.
He said, Mama and them said that. Mama and them said that.
Don't say what I got is attitude. I have passion.
Yeah, just like you have passion that everybody says you're a prick about.
Yeah.
Like, you've been a prick, I'll say that word, so,
right.
as a white or man or woman, and send your passionate statements towards the business or the employees is looked at as passion, and you care about the business. But when a person of color, and specifically a woman of color, has that same passion for her department or her team,
known as aggressiveness or attitude.
Well, 47% of Black women said they feel pressure to change negative stereotypical views of Black women in the workplace.
Yeah,
they feel pressure to change.
They
feel pressure. Wow.
To change those stereotypical views. Angry Black woman.
Yeah.
They don't look at it as passion. They look at it as she has an attitude, right? Like, I've experienced that too. So we got a lot of work to do. I think that this data reveals a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that it goes back to the conversation that we kind of were having a little bit ago around how there has to be people willing, and there has been people willing to step up, but don't get tired. There's a whole thing around white fatigue.
Yeah.
We need you to not get tired.
Right.
We need you to keep doing the work. We need you to keep dismantling the system. We need you to keep inviting people to the table.
Yeah.
We need you to keep making room. We need you to keep showing up as allies and accomplices in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take work.
Yeah. And I want to say, I don't want to be invited to tables anymore. I want to invite to kitchens. I don't want to just sit at the table to have that talk and eat. I want to be a part of the ingredients that's going to the food.
Come on, you better come on. You want to go to the grocery store? You want to cut up the carrots?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You want to?
No, that's no. That's no. You onto something right there.
It's beyond the table at this.
Like, I don't want to eat the bland mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Y'all need us going to the grocery. Well, not me. Not me. My mama. She put her foot in it. She put some fat bags. Some Joe Bacon up in that and make it taste better. No, that's a really good point. Yeah, like, then that what that means then is I have my CFO or my COO or my CEO or is also a Black woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a part of creating culture. They're a part of cultivating the culture. They're a part of making culture, right? If that's happening, okay, I can get with some making the food.
Yeah. Well, who's making the culture?
Exactly.
Who's creating it? Yeah. Who's cooking this meal that we have to show up every Monday through Friday and eat?
Because I've been to your family's house on Thanksgiving.
Hey, don't talk about my family unless you want to talk about my cooking.
Your cooking's not like that because
right,
you've been under my mama.
You've been hanging out with Mama now.
He been hanging out with mama.
Hey,
Then.
it ain't the same, but I put my foot in it.
He
too.
put his pinky toe in and it tastes good.
You don't put salt like that. You
Oh, no,
he be getting it in the kitchen.
I
so
grab
you don't count.
handfuls. I season the meat so you taste the seasoning.
Oh yeah. We want the seasoning on
he
it.
got some soul power.
Are there any other
there's
interest
so much
around the workplace?
There's so
anything that stands out to you that you think would be a good kind of
36% of Black women have left a job due to feeling unsafe.
That's
36.
That's powerful.
36%.
That's a powerful statistic.
And when you say unsafe, because let's talk about this. When you say unsafe, what is unsafe? Is that because she's not allowed to talk? She feels pressured?
It's so many things.
Because when I think unsafe, I'm thinking, man, that's the opposite of I feel like I belong.
Absolutely.
And when we talk about the psychological definition of belonging, it's I feel respected, accepted, and appreciated by my direct leader. So when I say I'm unsafe,
I'm not being heard.
I'm not being heard. I don't feel respected. I don't feel accepted. I don't feel appreciated.
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
you would feel unsafe coming to that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes
I mean, I've talked to Black women that have had amazing ideas they brought to the table and it's gotten stolen from them and then packaged as if their white colleague did it right under their nose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's happened to me right under my nose. I'm like,
yeah.
That's unsafe.
Yeah.
That's not a safe environment for me. And so if 36% of Black women are leaving workplaces due to that, we have a job to do.
Yeah.
Not me. Y'all.
No, yeah.
Y'all got a job to do.
Well,
to
whoever's cooking in the kitchen. If you're going to call yourself a cook, you better start using. Yeah, you have to start cooking.
Well, they're not calling themselves a cook. They're calling themselves a president, CEO,
right?
CFO.
But that's what I'm saying.
COO.
The chef of the business.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but everybody has to eat that food, And like, if you go to a restaurant and the food's bland and whatever, it doesn't matter if the ambiance. We're building all these beautiful buildings. It doesn't matter how many pictures of Black people are on the restaurant walls. But with the food sucks, you get rid of the chef.
Yeah.
And the problem is a lot of times where, there's no accountability around the food that's being served. And I think just hearing this creates some accountability in a sense, because the more we can spread this message out, the more leaders are accountable to that reality.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that.
And these Black women that are leaving are talented,
passionate,
are smart.
Yeah.
Can help shift your business for better. Like, you better get them.
Yeah.
You better not allow them to leave. Like, fix it. Do the work.
Right.
Like, it's impacting, at the end of the day, it's impacting your business. And you know what they're doing? You know what I did? I went out, started my own thing.
Yeah.
And building beautiful companies and beautiful organizations. And
you are
showing up for community.
What did 50 Cent say to you on the stage when you did your pitch? He was like, I think you have already won. Like, you're beyond this. Aren't you a CEO of a company that you've been running for a long time?
He did. Yeah. He said, I don't think we're going to hear a better pitch all day. I was like, you thanks, Skippy. Give me my check.
Right.
You better have my money. It's like a mic drop there.
She turned into ODB.
Oh man, gotta have the money. I don't even know where I had something funny in my head. I was thinking, but where can people find the data that you're sharing? Is there someone specific they can go into to get that? Because also, if you're looking for somebody to do workshops, and not necessarily just on racism, DEI, go beyond that. Her knowledge, her wealth is beyond a topic of sort. But if you're looking for a keynote speaker workshop, you can get a lot of this. You can find Katara. We'll put her information in the chat right now where you can connect with her on LinkedIn. But where else can they find the data?
Yeah, they can go to excel-app.com and you just put in your name and your email and you can download it for free. And go through it, share it.
Put that in the chat.
Yeah.
You can also go there to download the app.
Yeah.
Excel-app.com. Follow us on Instagram at Excel App. Follow me at Katara McCarty on Instagram. I'm usually on Instagram. I'm trying to get on LinkedIn. I know we on LinkedIn right now. She's trying to be more active on LinkedIn. But yeah, you can just follow me, contact me, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. Would love to connect and chat on ways that we can work together to prioritize Black women's overall well-being.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to? We're 2 months is almost gone.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, of 2024. What are you looking forward to this year? Like, I know your heart is on this exhale and really empowering Black and brown women, but is there something specific that says my heart this year when it comes to December 31 will be complete if or when? Let me change that because I want to say if. When?
Yeah, one of our goals and mission is to get 1 million Black women to take our pledge. And our pledge is all about, hey, I'm signing up to prioritize my mental and emotional well-being. So you do that in the app. There's a whole onboarding journey where you make that commitment. Part of that is downloading the app, paying for a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, and then using the app, right? Actually getting in there, whether it's once a day or, a couple times a week, and saying, okay, I'm actually going to put some effort in prioritizing myself. And so we want 1 million Black women to take the pledge. You can also go to our website, excel-app.com, to take that pledge. That would just be like amazing.
Yeah.
Because what my team and I believe and what we know is that Excel's more than an app. We're a movement, and we're calling as many Black women into this movement to say, we are no longer waiting to exhale, and we're going to prioritize our mental and emotional well-being, and we ain't waiting no more.
Yeah.
It's our turn. It's our time. And this is how we're going to do it. And part of that is using the app.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. If 1 million Black women are pledging to do that, the type of movement and impact that's going to have across the entire community, because it'll just be shared more and more. Absolutely. Black women are sharers. So they're going to share it with the men in their life, the children in their life, right? If Black women are healthier, our community is healthier. Yeah. Our world is healthier. Yeah. Our workplaces are healthier. So when we prioritize those that are on the furthest of margins, everybody wins. Yes. Yeah. Nobody's getting left out when we prioritize Black women. Let's be clear. When we prioritize Black women's health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, then everybody's health. We all benefit. Will be better. Yeah. 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 Love it. And as we end here, we were laughing this morning. Katara, we were about to head out, and Katara's like, "Oh, I get to be on a really cool podcast." Really, I said I get to be on a really famous podcast today. And literally, I had just gotten out of the sauna. My brain wasn't working. I knew she was coming to be on our podcast, but she's got so many other things going on. I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be on Goop?" With he said, "Is Goop today?" Yeah, because she was invited to go on Goop. So my brain went to a really famous part. Hell no. I shoved him in his arm. We were walking home from the gym. I said, "Culture good." And he goes, "Are we famous?"
you just made us famous.
Oh, I said, "After today, you will be."
For sure. But thank you for being on, and thank you for your work, because, well, I know what it means. Yeah. I know it's work. You've seen the blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, literal. Yeah. And sure. It's been an adventure, and you've created brave spaces for yourself. Which obviously in the workplace, we don't want people having to do that, but you've done that. And that's really blazing a trail, I think, that creates an opportunity for others to walk after you've walked it. And so thank you for taking that journey and walking that path, specifically not for every Black woman on earth, but specifically for our 2 daughters. They get to walk that path now. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm about to start crying.
You are. And she's over here like,
happy tears. Happy tears.
Yeah. You are Black History. We end this month with Black History Month, and I want to shout out my sister. I'm just claiming it.
Yeah.
For what you're doing. when you get tired for doing well, I want to be there with Ryan. You got to be first. That's your woman, man. But little brother be here to help hold those arms up for the work you're doing. So we want to, as your champion, what you're doing, we want to support you as well and continue to do that. Don't give up. And I'm excited about the future.
Me too.
It's just the beginning. I know you've been doing it for a while. But
it gets better from there.
It's going to get better. So I'm excited about that. Everybody look forward to connecting. We got all the information in the chat, and connect with Katara. Follow her, follow Exhale. You will not regret it. All this education and this energy, I get to feel it in person. I feel like I'm sitting next to a famous person. She's been on stages that I dream of. And so the work that she's doing, you will be blessed and encouraged, and maybe convicted. Conviction is a beautiful thing as long as you change it. And so appreciate it.
Download the Excel app, go on excel-app.com and check it all out. And as always, we love you, and we'll see you back here next week on Champion. Well, you have to join us on this one. All right. We love you. And as always, we'll see you back next week on
Champion Your Culture. Thank you.
Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us on Champion Your Culture podcast today.
We're so excited that you're here and want to invite you to connect with us. You can watch the show weekly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and listen anywhere you get podcasts.
Subscribe today to get new relevant content each week on how to champion yourself and your team. Thanks again for listening to Champion Your Culture.